Hi everybody, we're here with Stuart and Mike, and we're still talking about the Yukon River Quest. Such an amazing race, check it out. Now, you guys were raising money for charity, weren't you? It was the Great Ormond Street Hospital?
Yeah, so we were raising money for GOSH, so yeah, Great Ormond Street. I think for us we wanted to give something back, and I think you get a lot of veterans will probably look straight towards veterans charities and stuff, and I think what we wanted to do was make sure we gave back to something that helps the next generation, and does such an amazing job for kids all around the country that come down for treatment in London. So I think I don't have any kids, I've just got an annoying sausage dog, but
you can hear it in the background.
You can hear it in the background. But no, Mike, Ben and Sam will have younger kids, and definitely see all the benefit from charities like that will have to families. Yeah.
So how can people donate to this charity? What's the best way for them to do that? I know we're great on social media, so...
Most of our fundraising has been doing through the Virgin Money Giving website, and we have a page on there that is called Soldiers Up The Yukon. A team on there, Soldiers Up The Yukon. Yeah, there you go. That's our team name.
Check it out, guys.
So let's hope that if you either go on the Virgin Money website or go on Google and Google Soldier Up The Yukon,
we'll put a link underneath this video down there.
We'll give you a
go through, isn't it? Down there, we'll link it. Now the race. Stuart, how was the race for you?
Yeah, it was. I think we went into it with knowing sort of roughly what we were sort of expecting. We were there to. It was going to be such a long distance. We knew we were taking it on with inflatables. We were going to be a lot slower. So for us, it was about finishing the event and finishing the physical challenge. Unfortunately, we got hit with some pretty tough headwinds from the start. We got to the lake and then hit by even more.
The infamous lake. Is it as bad as they say?
It's worse.
What does Bart say? If you make the lake, you can make the race.
Yeah, I made the race. I made the lake. I didn't make the race.
Rubbish.
But no, we got hit really hard with the inflatables. Unfortunately, they're not the best in the wind.
This was Red Paddle Co. sponsoring.
So yeah, Red had sponsors at the time. We were using their Explorer and Voyager boards. So 13.2 boards are a little bit wider, gives us a bit of stability.
Yep, for all your kit.
For all the kit, you've got to carry in safety kit. And for me, it gave me a bit more stability with the leg as well. Yeah. So. But with a low river this year, it was a bit slower. So
what happened? Where was your point where you had to say you can't go any further?
Got to the end of the lake, and I think at that point we'd done 13 hours of paddling. Had a quick stop at the end of the lake, and we were able to switch into a little bit of warmer gear for the night. And then I think we did another sort of 10 hours of paddling before we even thought about stopping again. At that point, the temperature had dropped, and the sun was back up, so it was warming us up. And first real time I'd had time to sort of take the leg off and really have a look at my stump, and obviously being in the prosthetic you can't see it. Something that I always look at every 2-3 hours when I'm mountain biking, road biking. I can always keep an eye on the condition of it. After the 13 hours it was going down, and just the condition of it, and it was already uncomfortable at that point. I think I had to sort of have a strong conversation myself and make a sensible choice.
Did you talk to the team about it, or was it really your decision?
Yeah, I sort of made the guys aware that a 12-hour slog to make the cut-off wasn't probably going to be best for my leg, and I'd need the time to admin it. But I really had to sort of have a chat with myself and really know where.
You're from the army. You don't have any background. You don't quit, do you?
So you can always push on, and I was thinking I can push on, and does it then cripple me for the future? Am I slogging something that's going to cause permanent damage? And I've really got to. And probably previously my old self would have just keep powering through, and you feel a bit crap at the end of it. But I think for me that the extra thought of, am I going to then really make my disability an issue?
That's a big one, isn't it?
The company I run is an active sports company of my wife, that if I came back to the UK and wasn't able to work, then things would be a little bit different. And so there's a lot more pressures on things like that. And I think I came away thinking about how it's possible and making some really positive changes, and really positive mindset as well, to think that, okay, fine, it hasn't worked this time, but it doesn't mean it's not unachievable.
You're going back.
So we're going back. So after 30 hours, I had to make that tough call to say, I've got to bin it. And there was a point where the guys were up against cut-offs, and I think waiting for me would have potentially scuppered their races as well. So yeah, it was a grown-up decision.
Quite pleased to see the back of you at that point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So
we were sad to lose Stuart on the way.
Gutted, weren't you?
Yeah, we went into this as a team. We'd already lost Sam, sadly, a few weeks beforehand with a shoulder injury. Yeah, and losing another on the river was a real shame. But we knew it was a sensible decision. And yeah, as Stu says, much better to make that call then and go back in a couple of years and do it again and fix what needs fixing and work out the solutions is better than risking permanent damage. So.
Absolutely. So for you, your race from the moment this man had to stop, you were there, you two guys, and how
well, obviously Ben and I ran out of things to talk about already by then. So
we talked about him, surely.
We talked about Stu for a bit.
No, he's not here.
No, it was long. Bart to a certain extent is right. You make the lake, potentially, you can say the rest is downhill, downstream. That didn't really transpire because the headwinds we had on the second and third day were horrendous, like 30, 40 miles an hour straight in the face, planting big paddle strokes just to try and hold the board on the current without getting blown backwards, and it seemed decidedly unfair that we were having to put that much effort to just stay on the current. I had a 15-minute chase with a stick at one point. It was like it kept me almost sane/insane to literally spend 15 minutes chasing a stick that was in the current 3 yards ahead of me.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah, and we would go through hours of this. It seemed to be an afternoon pattern. It must have been how the sort of Ben was trying to explain something about geography, something about the water heating up or something and kicking up the wind. I don't know.
Okay.
Either way, what it did was it goes up the river. It doesn't go in a particular direction, it just goes up the river. So even though you are going in every direction, weaving around along the river, the wind is always straight in the face.
Sounds like the Thames where we are, mate. Yeah. That's what it's like.
Just like the Thames. More pine trees. Bigger river.
So that moment, was there a moment where you thought, we've got this? And how far out was that?
I thought when we reached Carmax, because after we lost you, and we knew at that point, we'd been doing the maths in our head, that we actually had a 10 or 12 hour slog to get to the Carmax, which is the first compulsory 7-hour stop. And we knew if we made it there, then we would be rested into the next two phases. We would know a lot more at that point, and we could do it. I mean, the headwinds the next couple of days were still horrendous, but we were kind of on track from that point. We knew we could do it. So, yeah, it was just a case of spending the time. And
by then, had you reached the end?
So I got to Carmax just before the guys arrived, so it was really nice to get in and literally and get the guys in and help them out with the kit, because I think knowing where their stuff was, what they were going to want and things like that, that it was, hopefully it helped them a little bit, but I could get the boards and everything sorted for them and be a bit more useful. So so hopefully I was able to get there and not miss them. So unfortunately, when you're pulling out of a race like that, you either need to stump up a fair bit of cash to be rescued, or you keep paddling until a point that you can get out and get to a point where there's a road, and there's not many points on the Yukon. No, you're pretty limited, and teams that pull out are literally either camping and taking it nice and slow to the end, or you've got to, and it's that realization sometimes that it's also probably a push to not pull out, because you're going to keep paddling anyway.
Where are you going to go?
Unless you want to spend $500 and throw your kit in the back of a boat.
So, sorry,
I was just going to say, I think also having Stuart at the end, it was actually reminding me one of the best bits of the whole race for me was just the sheer support atmosphere, and particularly within paddleboarding. I mean, there were 100 odd canoes, kayaks started the race, but of the paddleboarders, every single one of the paddleboarders, from Bart, who won it a good half a day ahead of us, like 12 hours ahead of us, through to every single one of them was still on the side of the river in Dawson, and Stu was there as well, on the side of the river in Dawson when we finished, waiting. Every single paddleboarder in the race stayed together, which I guaranteed wasn't happening in the canoe and kayak categories. So I mean, it was a real tight atmosphere.
That is very much the community,
Yeah,
as you say,
fantastic
isn't it?
support.
So now, we've mentioned Red Paddle Co. and awesome supporters as they are. You need some hardballs surely to do it next time. Come on, you were called crazy and mad and idiot.
Yeah.
So
I think
this is a call out, isn't it?
No, I think it adds to the challenge, and it was really tough on the inflatables. And if you want to, I think you just got to pray that there's ideal conditions. I mean, the boys still managed it on the inflatables, but and you can take your own one out there, a bit easier on the flights. But seeing the difference of a hardboard and a composite cutting through the water, I mean, for me to be able to take this challenge on with a disability, it has to be a hardboard. To buy my time to look after the leg. You've got to look after yourself on events like this. You're 71 hours of grizz, and there's no resting, there's no hiding away, it's sleep deprivation. And so I think getting that composite board and the hole that you can cut through and just helps that headwind that's going to happen, I think.
Well, actually, thinking ahead, we've got a great 2000 and whatever it is, 12, 14 foot, 27.5 all-star. You can borrow it, mate. Take it. Get someone to fly it over for you. It's the best board in the world. It's old school, but it's just perfect. So that would see you right. Or you can.
That's what we're looking at now.
We're doing a tandem.
Yeah.
We've got the bug now. Feel like, I mean, we started with the longest, but I really want to start experiencing some of the other endurance races around, the Jersey, the Great Glens, Thames Ultra, all those sort of things. And actually, first and foremost, you need to try and get a hardboard. So we've been looking at the starboard range, actually, the All-Stars. So
well, they're just you
brilliant.
Can't beat them really. Guys, thank you so much for your time. We've come up to London, Wake Up Docklands. Thank you for having us. You've got stuff going on later, haven't you? Some fun races,
so
bit of fundraising.
It's our sort of last fundraising effort. So we're about 8,500, including gift aid.
What's your total?
So that's where we're at, 8,500 at the moment.
But sorry, what's your goal?
I mean,
or it doesn't matter.
Whatever we can, the more the better. And I mean, this is our sort of last hurrah, getting some more fundraising around the event and the achievement what Mike and Ben went and succeeded at. And I think this is the final sort of push. And if we can get it to 10, it'd be amazing.
Awesome. Well, we'll help you achieve that. We really will. So everybody, please just link below.
This link.
This one. And we're sorry not to meet Ben, of course. He couldn't. Well, he's coming up later.
Yeah, he's coming over late after work. So
well, we missed him. Sorry, we've got to go. Guys, thank you so much. Incredible achievement. As I said to you earlier, incredible achievement just to enter that crazy race.
I'll be back there in a few years.
You'll be back. Yeah, these boys will be back. So thanks for your time, guys.
Cool. Thank you very much.